Now let's talk about exercise 16-21. This is the first one where you are doing the whole entire statement of cash flows. But once again, we're just going to take it one section at a time. So we've really been practicing that operating activity section because it's the one that you have to think kind of differently on, not as straightforward as the other two sections. First thing we want to do is we want to take and look through our information. So the first thing we see that they gave us was an income statement. Then they gave us a section of additional data, A, B, C, D, E, and then F, they gave us an excerpt of a balance sheet where we see the 2018 balances and the 2017 balances. So they did not do the math for us, and so we will have to do it ourselves. So once I've kind of looked through and I see what all I'm working with, let's just start with our steps for our operating activities. And we know the first thing we always need is net income. Well, they gave me an income statement, so that's an easy place to find net income. My net income was $53,000. Adjustments to net income. Step number 1 is any depreciation, depletion, or amortization. So I need to know if there was any depreciation expense. They gave me an income statement, and we know all expenses are listed on the income statement. So I look on my income statement and I find depreciation expense of plant assets, $27,000. So depreciation expense, plant assets, $27,000. We know that's always an add. Step number 2, I'm going to do any gains or losses on the sale of long-term assets. So the best place to look, since they gave me an income statement, is to look and see if I see any gains or losses listed on the income statement. And if I look, I do not. But to double check, I want to look through any additional data and make sure I don't see anything. So let's see, we bought plant assets, we sold some land on B, but it says there was no gain or loss. Okay, so no gain or loss. And I don't see anything else to do with selling any plant assets. Okay, so no gains or losses. Step number 3, my increases and decreases in non-cash current assets and current liabilities. Well, they gave me in F the excerpt of my balance sheet, so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to skip cash and I'm going to go to accounts receivable. Accounts receivable had a 2018 balance of $46,000, a 2017 balance of $61,000. So from 17 to 18, it went up or down? Went down, right? 61,000 in 17 and then 46,000 in 18. So make sure you're looking at your numbers in the correct order. So it decreased by 15,000. We know for an asset, we do the opposite. So a decrease would be a positive 15,000. Merchandise inventory. It had a balance in 2017 of 88,000 and a balance in 2018 of 94,000. So it went up by 6,000. So an increase in an asset, we do the opposite. So negative 6,000. The next asset listed is land. But land's not a current asset. Then we've got plant assets. Then we've got accumulated depreciation. Those all are long-term accounts. So I'm skipping those. So you kind of have to use your knowledge from accounting 1 here. Now I get to accounts payable. That would be a current liability. So accounts payable had a 2017 balance of $15,000, a 2018 balance of $32,000. So it went up. The difference between 15 and 32, it went up by $17,000. And we know for liabilities, we do the same. So an increase in accounts payable will be a positive number. Then we have accrued liabilities. That would be anything like utilities payable, salaries payable, anything that has accrued and built up. That would be a current liability. It went from $20,000 in 17 to $12,000 in 18. So it had a decrease of $8,000. For liabilities, we do the same. So a decrease would be a negative $8,000. Then we go into notes payable, common stock, and retained earnings. None of those are current assets or current liabilities, so we skip those. Okay? Now it's time to do my math. Positive 27, positive 15, negative 6, positive 17, negative 8 gives me a subtotal of $45,000. My positive 53 plus my $45,000 is going to give me $98,000. Since that's a positive, I've got net cash provided by operating activities. So we do the exact same steps here that we have been doing in those previous homework problems. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions on the operating activities section. So let's move on to our investing activities. So we know for investing activities, I'm looking for anything to do with my long-term or my plant assets, land, building, truck, equipment. And also if anybody owed me money long-term, so like notes receivable. So this is where you have to kind of just start sorting through your information. I've already used my information from my income statement. Most of this stuff is just going to come from that additional data. What I like to do when I am working a problem is I'll put a little check mark as I've used something so I know I haven't skipped it. So I'm just going to start with A. The acquisition of plant assets is $124,000. Of this amount, $108,000 is paid in cash and $16,000 by signing a note payable. So we acquired plant assets, $108,000 is paid in cash, and $16,000 by signing a note payable. So the part that goes to note payable didn't affect my cash right now, did it? So that's not going to be listed under investing activities. But the $108,000 I paid in cash, that is money I spent. So I've got my little subheading, cash flows from investing activities. And the first thing I'm going to list is acquisition of plant asset. You can use the word purchase if you hate the word acquisition. So purchase of plant asset. Okay, if I'd rather use purchase, I can. I know some of y'all do not like that word acquisition. So the purchase of plant assets. If I spent money, that's going to be a negative, right? My money is going down. So negative $108,000. B says cash receipt from the sale of land totals $20,000. There was no gain or loss. So I sold land and I received $20,000. Well, land is a long-term asset. So that goes in the investing activities section. And I received money, so that's a positive. So cash receipt from sale of land, positive 20. If I read my next data has to do with stock, well, that's not investing activity. Notes payable, that's not investing activity. Payment of dividends, that's not investing activities. So I don't see anything else in problem 21 that has to do with investing activities. So I'm done with that section. So I just do the math. I have got negative 108 and positive 20,000. If I combine those, then my subtotal is a negative 88,000. Since that's a negative, I'm going to put the word used over here. So net cash used for investing activities, 88,000 negative. Now I move on to my financing activities. So anything to do with stocks, bonds, or long-term debt. I've already used A. I've already used B. So let me go to C. They're kind of in order in this problem, but it won't always be that way. So that's why I said I always just kind of check stuff off. And for instance, we've already used F. The balance sheet excerpt, we've already used it. So C, cash receipts from issuance of common stock, $36,000. Cash receipt means I received money. So that's a positive. So I've got cash receipt from issuance of common stock, $36,000. And as far as the wording goes, we're really just copying, aren't we? It said cash receipt from issuance of common stock. So I'm just kind of using the words that they used. D, payment of notes payable, $15,000. If I paid off a note or I've made payments on a note, I am spending money. So that's a negative to my cash. Cash payment of notes payable, negative 15,000. E, the payment of dividends is 5,000. Once again, there's that word paid. If I paid dividends, I spent money. So negative 5,000 for cash payment of dividends. Now, if I look through all my my exercise 21 information, I've gone through everything they gave me. Okay? So, I think I'm done. Nothing left to put. So, let's finish up our financing activity section. So, we've got positive 36, negative 15, negative 5. If I combine those, I get a positive 16,000. So, since it's a positive, I use the word provided right here. Net cash provided by financing activities. Okay, so those are my three sections. Once I've got my subtotals for my three sections, so let me change this to red so we can kind of see the difference. So I've got 98,000 cash provided by operating activities. I've got negative 88,000 cash used for investing activities, and positive 16,000 cash provided by financing activities. So when I combine a positive 98, a negative 88, and a positive 16, then that gives me 26,000. A positive 26,000. So my net increase or decrease in cash would be 26,000. Is this an increase or a decrease? Hopefully in your mind you were thinking increase. Positive number, increase. Negative number, decrease. My next step is to find my beginning cash balance. So in that case, or in this problem, it's going to be my cash balance at September 30th, 2017. Remember, close of business, September 30th, 2017. Open of business, October the 1st, 2017, same number. If I look back in my problem, where am I going to get this? Well, remember, we had that excerpt of our balance sheet, and it had cash. So if I look, my 2017 cash balance was $13,000. So if I started the year with $13,000, and I'm saying I had an increase of 26, if I add those together, 26,000 plus 13,000, I get 39,000. So I'm saying that my new cash balance is 39,000. I'm going to double check, and I'm going to look back on my balance sheet, and I'm going to cross my fingers. Actually, I'm not, because I know I'm right, because I have confidence in myself. But I'm going to double check, and I'm going to make sure that the balance sheet says that my 2018 balance was 39,000. And it does. So I give myself a smiley face. Okay. Does this mean you're perfect? No, you could have maybe a number in a wrong section or something. But if you get to the bottom and this works out, then you've done probably perfect, and if not perfect, really, really, really close to perfect. But we do have one more thing, because it did tell us in the instructions to include a separate section for our non-cash items. If you remember, back up in additional data A, it said that we acquired plant assets, $124,000. Of this amount, $108,000 is paid in cash and $16,000 by signing a note payable. So we got land, or we got plant asset, $16,000 of that was by issuing a note. So it didn't affect my cash right then. So that $16,000 is going to go down here in my little footnote. Acquisition of plant assets with notes payable, $16,000. And that was the only one I had. That was the only non-cash item that I had. So if you think about it, we acquired plant assets of $124,000. The amount that I paid for cash, I put up here in the investing activities, and the amount that I financed shows up down here. But I have the whole $124,000 in one spot or the other. They are just divided out. Okay, guys and gals, that is a complete statement of cash flows. Follow your steps and just take it